We have one in the bathroom still. Okay. Hi, friends. All right, so today Miss Studer is going to read you a book. It's called The Day the Crayons Quit. And you might have read this book before. Some of you might be familiar with it, but we're going to read it again. And today we're going to really work on something. It's a verb. The word is called persuade. So I'm going to write it on the board. So it's P-E-R-S, sorry, U-A-D-E. So let's break that word into two. What's the first part? Persuade, which is a fancy word. And if we use the noun of that word, the noun of that word is called persuasion. So it's P-E-R-S-U-A-S-I-O-N. So if we broke that one down, it would be persuasion. Can you say persuasion? So I'm going to give you an example of how to persuade somebody, and then we'll see if we can come up with a definition, okay? So if I wanted to persuade, let's say I wanted to persuade my mom. I'm going to persuade my mom that I should get to go play in the snow after school. So I'm going to say, hey mom, I really think it would be a great idea if instead of doing my homework right after school, because it just snowed, I think it would be a great idea for me to go outside and get some fresh air and be able to play in the snow. So what do you think it means when I'm trying to persuade my mom to... Janessa? She's going to say no. But what do you think it means to persuade somebody? CJ, I'm going to just close this door. Hold on, CJ. Go ahead, CJ.
To force.
So CJ says to force.
Like force somebody into letting you do something.
Force somebody into letting you do something. What do you think, Mariah? Say it louder.
Me too.
Me too? Is that what you said? Me too what?
Like, I need to go out in the snow.
Me too. So CJ said to persuade someone is to force somebody, which is a little bit harsh, but I totally understand what you mean. And Mariah's saying it's convincing somebody to say, I need to do this. So do you know what the word convince means?
Mm-hmm.
Raise your hand if you know what the word convince means. So see, if you're going to convince somebody to do something, or Sophia. To convince them, but what do you think convince means? If you convince your reader, look at right here. Anybody think they know? What does it mean when you convince your reader to do something? Yeah.
To make them agree with you.
To agree with you. So if I said to my mom, hey mom, don't you think it would be a really great idea if instead of doing my homework, I use the sunlight hours to go play in the snow because it doesn't snow all the time. So when I convince somebody, it's like I give them reasons why I should do something, and I try to get them to do what I want to do. So like Mariah said, oh, well, you need to do something. You're trying to convince, like I could say, if I was at the store and I wanted to get, let's say I wanted to get blue sneakers, I could say, Mom, I really think the blue sneakers are better because they stand out. Everybody else has white sneakers. I want blue sneakers. So I'm giving reasons as to why my mom should do what I want to do. So I'm trying to convince her. I'm trying to persuade her to do what I want to do. Does that make sense? All right, in the book, there are crayons that write letters to this little boy. And the crayons are trying to persuade the boy. They're trying to convince the boy of some things. So we're going to talk about that as I read the book. So it's called The Day the Crayons Quit, and Dr. Wright also has the book, so if you can't see the pictures, when I'm reading, she's going to walk around and show you. Alright. So, The Day the Crayons Quit. One day in class, Duncan went to take out his crayons and found a stack of letters with his name on them. So there's an envelope with Duncan's name on it. And then the crayons wrote letters, right? Hey Duncan, it's me, Red Crayon. We need to talk. You make me work harder than any of your other crayons. All year long, I wear myself out coloring fire engines, apples, strawberries, and everything else that's red. I even work on holidays. I have to color all the Santas at Christmas and all the hearts on Valentine's Day. I need a rest. Your overworked friend, Red Crayon.
Wait, is that real paper?
It's an illustration in the book, Brianna. Dear Duncan. All right, listen. I love that on your favorite crayon for grapes, dragons, and wizard hats. But it makes me crazy that so much of my gorgeous color goes outside the lines. If you don't start coloring inside the lines soon, I'm going to completely lose it. Your very neat friend, Purple Crayon. So there's a wizard and a purple dragon. So why do you think the Purple Crayon is upset?
Because
I love the way you raise your hand, Rare.
it's like
Why is the Purple Crayon good?
He doesn't want to start out the line because she is the one who wants to be neat.
Yeah, so the Purple Crayon is really neat. So the Purple Crayon is trying to persuade or convince Duncan that he needs, if he's going to use the Purple Crayon, that's cool, but she likes to be neat and he's drawing outside the line. So she's trying to convince him to slow down a little bit and be a little bit neater. She's trying to persuade him to slow down. Dear Duncan, I'm tired of being called light brown or dark tan because I am neither. I am beige and I am proud. I'm also tired of being second place to Mr. Brown Crayon. It's not fair that Brown gets all the bears, ponies, and puppies, while the only things I get are turkey dinners, if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
And wheat. And let's be honest, when was the last time you saw a kid excited about coloring wheat? Your beige friend, Beige Crayon. So what do you think, why do you think Beige is not happy?
He doesn't get to color lots of exciting things.
Mia, raise your hand. Go ahead.
He doesn't get to color lots of exciting things.
So what is Beige trying to persuade Duncan to do? CJ.
Make him color more.
Yeah, to use the Beige Crayon to color some fun things. Beige is tired of getting used to color boring things like wheat.
He made me color like skin color.
Right, look how sad he is. Duncan! Gray Crayon here! You're killing me! I know you love elephants, and I know that elephants are gray, but that's a lot of space to color in all by myself. And don't even get me started on your rhinos, hippos, and humpback whales. You know how tired I am after handling one of those things. Such big animals. Baby penguins are gray, you know. So are very tiny rocks, pebbles. How about one of those once in a while to give me a break? Your very tired friend, Gray Crayon. So what is the Gray Crayon trying to convince Duncan to do? Maya.
To stop making him have to draw big things and make him think small.
Yeah, so the Gray Crayon's trying to persuade Duncan, like, hey, take it easy on those huge animals, maybe because you're wearing me out. Maybe you use Gray to do something smaller. Dear Duncan, you color with me, but why? Most of the time, I'm the same color as the page you're using me on, white. If I didn't have a black outline, you wouldn't even know I was there. I'm not even in the rainbow. I'm only used to color snow or to fill an empty space between other things. And it leaves me feeling, well, empty. We need to talk. Your empty friend, white crayon. Why do you think that white crayon is on the black paper? Janessa, why do you think the white crayon is on the black paper?
Because black can't show on black.
Yeah, because the black paper can show up the white. What's the white trying to persuade Duncan to do?
Color on different colored paper.
Yeah, color on different color paper, because if you draw white on white paper, what happens? It doesn't show up. So the white's trying to convince Duncan, like, hey, maybe use some colored paper so I can show up and you can show off my awesomeness. Hi, Duncan. I hate being used to draw the outline of things that are colored in by other colors, all of which think they're brighter than me. It's not fair when you use me to draw a nice beach ball and then fill in the colors of the ball with all the other crayons. How about a black beach ball sometime? Is that too much to ask? Your friend, Black Crayon. So what's Black Crayon trying to convince Duncan to do, or persuade Duncan to do? Sophia. Yeah, the black is tired of getting used to fill in the colors or give outlines. It wants to be used for colorful things. So it wants to be like a pretty beach ball. It doesn't want to just be black, the outline of something. There, Duncan. As Green Crayon, I am writing for 2 reasons. One is to say I like my workloads of crocodiles, trees, dinosaurs, and frogs. I have no problems and wish to congratulate you on a very successful coloring things green career so far. The second reason I write is for my friends, Yellow Crayon and Orange Crayon, who are no longer speaking to each other. Both crayons feel they should be the color of the sun. Please settle this soon because they're driving the rest of us crazy. Your happy friend, Green Crayon. So Green Crayon isn't really upset. Green Crayon is happy. Why is the Green Crayon happy? Brianna, why is the Green Crayon happy? Yeah, he gets used a lot, but he gets used in the ways that the Green Crayon thinks is great. He likes to be used to color the dinosaurs, the trees, and the frogs. Why is he trying to persuade Duncan of to fix a problem? What problem is he trying to persuade Duncan to fix? Mariah. He's trying to help 2 other crayons out.
He's trying to help yellow and orange.
He's trying to help yellow and orange because yellow and orange are fighting about what?
Being the sun.
Yeah, they both want to be used to color the sunshine.
Well, they can.
So he's trying to persuade Duncan to help fix that problem because he doesn't like that his friends yellow and orange are upset. Duncan! Yellow Crayon here! I need you to tell Orange Crayon that I am the color of the sun. I would tell him, but we are no longer speaking. And I can prove I'm the color of the sun too. Last Tuesday, you used me to color in the sun on your Happy Farm coloring book. In case you've forgotten, it's on page 7. You can't miss me. I'm shining down brilliantly on a field of yellow corn. Your pal and the true color of the sun, Yellow Crayon. So what's the Yellow Crayon trying to persuade Duncan about? Janessa, what do you think? Do you want some help? Did you forget? Okay, can anyone help her? Maya, what do you think Yellow Crayon's trying to convince us?
To tell Orange Crayon that he is the real color of the sun.
Yeah, Yellow Crayon is trying to persuade Duncan that he should always be used to be color in the sun. Uh-oh, here comes the Orange Crayon. Dear Duncan, I see Yellow Crayon already talked to you. The big whiner. Anyway, could you please tell Mr. Tattletale that that he is not the color of the sun. I would, but we're no longer speaking. We both know I am clearly the color of the sun because on Thursday, you used me to color the sun on both the Monkey Island and Meet the Zookeeper pages in your Day at the Zoo coloring book. Orange, you glad I'm here? Ha ha ha. Your pal and the real color of the sun, Orange Crayon. So what's Orange Crayon's trying to persuade Duncan? Sophia. It's sort of the same thing Yellow Crayon was trying to persuade Duncan about. What does the Orange Crayon want Duncan to do with him? You forgot? That's okay. CJ.
That he is the color of the sun.
Yeah. Orange is trying to persuade Duncan to use orange as the color of suns instead of yellow. Dear Duncan, it has been great being your favorite color this past year. And the year before. And the year before that. I have really enjoyed all those oceans, lakes, rivers, raindrops, rain clouds, and clear skies. But the bad news is that I am so short and stubby. I can't even see over the railing in the crayon box anymore. I need a break. Your very stubby friend, Blue Crayon. So what do you think what's the Blue Crayon trying to persuade Duncan about? Ariana, what's the Blue Crayon trying to persuade Duncan to do?
To make some of his favorite color next week.
Well, Blue Crayon is saying he's so tired. Look how little the Blue Crayon is.
Yeah.
So the Blue Crayon is kind of upset because he's being overused. So what does he ask? We're trying to persuade Duncan to do.
Slow down on it.
Slow down and not use blue for all like the big background things like the rivers and the lakes. Because the Blue Crayon is getting smaller and smaller because he gets used too much.
Okay.
Duncan, okay, listen here, kid. You have not used me once in the past year. Excuse me. It's because you think I'm a girl's color, isn't it? Speaking of which, please tell your little sister I said thank you for using me to color in her Little Princess coloring book. I think she did a fabulous job of staying inside the lines. Now back to us. Could you please use me sometime to color the occasional pink dinosaur or monster or cowboy? Goodness knows they could use a splash of color. Your unused friend, Pink Crayon. So what do you think Pink Crayon's trying to persuade Duncan of? Maya.
To use him more, her more, because he wants to be used for different things he draws, not just his little sister.
Yeah, so Pink is upset because Pink is feeling like Duncan is labeling him as just a girl's color. And Pink wants to be used as a girl's and a boy's color. She wants to be used, or he wants to be used to color in special things, not just princesses. Hey Duncan, it's me, Peach Crayon. Why did you peel off all of my paper wrapping? Now I'm naked and too embarrassed to leave the crayon box. I don't even have any underwear. How would you like to go to school naked? I need some clothes. Help! Your naked friend, Peach Crayon. So what is Peach Crayon trying to persuade Duncan about? Mariah.
That he wants clothes.
Yeah, he feels naked because Duncan peeled off the wrapper of him, and he doesn't like being without his wrapper. So he's trying to persuade Duncan to not peel his wrapper off. He feels embarrassed.
Why doesn't he put some tape on?
Yeah, well,
And color it.
yeah, that's what Peach is trying to say. Is persuading him like, hey, maybe put some tape on me because I feel embarrassed. Well, poor Duncan just wanted to color, and of course he wanted his crayons to be happy, and that gave him an idea. Look at all the letters he got. A lot of letters. When Duncan showed his teacher his new picture, she gave him an A for coloring. Look at the picture, you guys. What do you notice that's different in the picture?
He put it off.
Sophie, I love the way you raise your hand.
He put all the crayons that are very sad.
He used, first of all, he used all the colors, right? What color is the elephant right here? Reddish. It's not just gray. Remember when the gray crayon was upset? So do you think the crayons were used persuasion well to convince Duncan to do different things with them, or maybe use them not as much or more? Do you think he was successful?
Santa.
Do you think the crayons were successful?
Yeah, pink.
Maya says yes, yeah. And look, see how the pink crayon is used to color, and it looks like sort of like a monster or a dinosaur, an airplane. It's not just used for princesses. And the blue crayon he used for the lake, but he didn't make the lake super, super big. And the orange crayon got to color in a big whale, and there's even the white. Remember how white was like, you never used me. And he used black, but he didn't make it just for the outline. He made a black rainbow up here. And the teacher gave him an A for coloring and an A+ for creativity. Can anybody think of a way that you have used persuasion besides in the book what we just read? Think of a time you might have you tried to persuade something to do something you wanted to do. Can anybody think of an example? CJ, what do you think? Well, breeze feels good.
Spend more time on the iPad.
So CJ wants to spend more time on the iPad. So CJ, what would be some of the reasons you could use to try to persuade your mom that you would like to get more time on the iPad?
And stay up later.
You want to stay up later and use the iPad. Okay, so what would you say to mom to try to persuade her?
I would say, hey mommy, since it's not that late, so can I stay up some more? I want to see iPad. Thanks, Doodle.
Thanks and toodles. Yeah, so he's trying to say, hey mom, it's not that late. I think it would be fine for me to use the iPad. So that's a great way to use persuasion. I love it. Thank you guys so much for being, we have other examples. Mia, go ahead.
Sometimes I want to eat more lunch, and I know a way to persuade mommy to give me more lunch.
How do you do it?
I say, I'm not that full.
Yeah. So you should say, I'm not that full. I could eat more, right? And you try to persuade her. Brianna, go ahead.